Hello there everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the KSP Let's Play that we all love so much. Or at least I do, because KSP is the shiznit. Anyhow, for today's episode, we're just going to be doing, well, I'm going to have a little bit of fun in low-Kerbin orbit. Partially intended, partially not so much. Yes. Anyhow, we are launching a fuel tanker up to Kerbin Space Dock because, well, things need fuel, and, fuel tankers are necessary. So, yes, that is what we'll be doing first, and hopefully not failing at it too much. Anyway, first launch. Yeah, so remember that whole thing that I said about not failing? Yeah. I knew that was going to happen. What happened? I don't know why, but in the VAB, when I set up the launch clamps, one of them attached to the inside of my center stack, while the other three were fine. I don't know. Whatever. Bugs. Anyhow, we're good. We're launching a second time, and this should be much, much better. And really, the first time I just wanted to see a pretty explosion, because I like them explosions. Alright, well, let's get up there. Not much to say about this launch stage. This is a very basic launch stage that I use quite frequently for radial tanks there that pop off in asparagus-style staging. So we have two of them jump off first and then the other two. We also have the solid rocket boosters, of course, which will be the first things that we'll be dumping. And as you can see, fairly stable. It's looking pretty good. So let's see what we can do with this. There goes the solid boosters. Very handy, those things. Help you get off the launch pad when you got a little bit too much weight to handle. Just as long as the solid boosters get you out of the very lowest part of the atmosphere, or get you a decent part through that lowest part of the atmosphere. That was a really long and convoluted sentence. But yeah, anyways, as long as they do that, then I believe that they serve their purpose. So yeah, I think they did a decent job there. And here we go, we're up around 25k, still looking good. Don't really know if this thing is going to make orbit. I'm really not certain. There is no stage that will help it make orbit, so I'm actually pretty sure it's not going to happen. But this right here did not help in the least. I don't know if you saw that little wiggle in the middle there and how the camera shifted forward. Yeah, my ship broke in half. I'm not sure why exactly. There's really not that much mass on top of it, but it happened. It's probably because of the docking ports. They just were not able to handle the stress. So we're in a spin. As you can see, throttle is off. Not doing me any good. So let's try this again. Launch attempt number 3. More struts. Should go much better, right? Yeah, right. Good old KSP can always be reliable when you expect it to be reliable. Yeah, no idea what happened there. Again, some sort of stress on the rocket just kind of ripped it apart. Probably because I didn't add any more struts while I did add another stage. As you can see there's an actual little bit of a stage there that will help it get into orbit. Or rather, that will be the orbital stage. The stage that will make it make orbit. Yes. Anyhow, what is this, 4th launch now? Yeah, 4th launch. Spoiler alert, it goes well, so I'm gonna skip over the stuff that you've seen already, and we'll go out into space. At this point, where we were at before, when our ship broke in half. Because game is the game. There's certain times in KSP where you'll test a rocket out, it'll fly, 9 times out of 10, it'll be perfect. The 10th time, though, nuh-uh, just decides to, nope, I'm gonna leave half of myself in the atmosphere while the other half will keep going. Yes, that's what the ship will do. Because that's how it works. I don't know. Either way, I don't know what the hell I just said. Either way, things are looking much, much better now. So, as you can see, we're getting up there. We are out of the atmosphere. And we have an apoapsis at about 80 kilometers, not high enough but I actually was not sure if this stage would be able to make the higher altitude as well as make the orbit at the same time. So I decided to not risk it, and I just went for a lower orbit, and then we'll just be able to bump ourselves up a little bit. Alright, let's get this orbit going, shall we? I figured I'd leave this going at normal speed just because I really like rocket launches. I don't know why. I've done it a million times, and they're just so much fun to watch. So I figured you guys might enjoy it too. If you don't, well, too bad. But no, seriously, if you don't want to see these things, just let me know and I'll cut out more of it in the future. Anyhow, we now have an orbit! Hurrah! You can usually tell from the camera change when it flips around like that you're in orbit, pretty much, or pretty dang close to it. I could be wrong about that, but from my experience, it seems like that's when it changes. Alright, well, anyhow, now that we're in orbit, it's time to figure out our rendezvous with Kerbin Space Dock. And the first thing I do is the good old inclination change, which I didn't show on camera because, you know, there's no point. And this is the actual rendezvous itself. I do have to burn a little bit over, so we get a bigger orbit and then come back in, loop back around. But it's fine, it's not a huge burn, it doesn't waste a lot of fuel, and we get pretty close. So, yes, a success in my books. As you can see, we're nice and at 0.5 kilometers there. Oh, a little bit over, but just use the RCS and bring it right back. There we go, so within half a kilometer. Sounds good to me. Alrighty, well now it's time for the fun stuff, and the difficult stuff. Yep, that's right, docking. Docking with like 300 parts in the area. Fun times. Which is why I sped it up to 2 times speed. Just to make it look a little bit better for you guys. It gets really frustrating trying to do anything with such a low frame rate, so I don't want you guys to suffer through that, so I just sped it up a little bit. If you couldn't tell by now, this is all post-commentary, obviously, so that shouldn't be a big problem. Anyhow, we're within a kilometer. I, for some reason, decided to stop short of it. I don't know why. I should have gone a lot closer, as you'll see in a little bit. But for now, this is where we're at. So we decouple the tank from the middle there, and we just gotta shimmy her out of there. There we go, just a little bit to the side. Perfect. Because there is, well, there's 2 parts to this mission. The first part is the fuel tank itself, obviously. We gotta get that docked up with Kerbin Space Dock, and gotta get all the things refueled. But the second part is the reason for this little tug thing at the top there. I wanted to get rid of some of the debris that I left behind last time with my previous launch where I didn't put a battery on one of the stages. Something that I'm totally not going to repeat again in this episode. Anyhow, I just wanted to get rid of some of that debris, so what we're going to be doing is docking these 2 up together, and I'm going to head over there, and, well, the initial plan was to transfer some fuel over to the stage that's there already, because there is a stage that's identical to the one that I have right now with the skipper engine. So I wanted to get some fuel to that, and then get that docked up with the other piece of debris, and then just deorbit everything. But, well, we'll see in a little bit how that turns out. In the meantime, let's try to get the fuel tanker over there. Since we don't have any sort of engines on there, we just gotta RCS our way over. That's fine. I've already used some of the fuel in the tank. I had to... well, I ran out in the bottom stage. I didn't use a lot, but I did have to use a little bit. So, you know what? Whatever. I don't care if I have to use a little bit of RCS as well. There's still way more than enough fuel in any of those tanks. But yeah, you might be wondering, what the hell is he doing right now? Yeah, remember that whole battery thing? Yep. Forgot to put one on the fuel tanker. So, I was on an intercept course. I just wanted to see what would happen. And surprisingly, absolutely nothing broke. It was very, very surprising, especially considering the fact that I was aimed basically right at some of those small engines, some of the small radial tanks, or sorry, radial engines. Nope, we're fine, so we managed to not blow anything up. But through the magic of time travel, we are now back in the past. Because I I didn't want to deal with a fuel tank that's kind of, you know, spinning out of control after hitting a station and all that, so I just reloaded. I'll fix that in another launch. I'll basically have to do the same thing, send out a tug to go grab that tanker and attach it to the station. In fact, I could probably just use... I guess it's not really a tug, but the head of the Kerbozord, I can just use that. And don't have to bother with sending out another ship up here. Or do I? Yep, I do, because, well, things that happen in the next 10 minutes. Oh man, this was fun, but so frustrating. It's one thing about KSP that kind of bugs me. I mean, at the same time, I absolutely love the game, don't get me wrong, but you end up playing it for a good hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and for a video, you maybe get about 30 minutes worth of material if you don't edit things out and you don't speed things up and all that. So yeah, it takes a lot of time to play the game, and you don't actually get to show much for it until you complete certain major objectives. And really, that's what the game's all about. You set your own objectives, and, well, the time it takes to do those things it's part of the process. So once you actually finish what you set out to do, you generally tend to feel pretty accomplished. Anyhow, enough of my rambling on about the game. We have arrived at those other 2 parts. All we did was just a little burst to get out here, and a little burst to stop ourselves. Since they weren't too far away, they were only a few kilometers away. There's no point in having to set up an intersect or an encounter or anything like that. So anyhow, we're getting in there, getting in nice and close. And first things first will be to refuel the bottom stage, or I guess one of the skipper stages. So yes, we'll be doing that. Get up there. Ah man, it's kind of funny how long it took me to realize just how badly I screwed up around here. I'm wondering if you guys can see it before I do, because I certainly did not see it until it seemed like it was too late. But anyhow, we're coming in. I didn't want to try to just dock right away. Stopping a little bit close, but it's okay. We're there. We're in a little parking orbit beside the other stage, so all we gotta do now is just turn around and... Dude, you're way too close, way too close. Yep, there was no time to fix that. So we ended up nudging it a little bit. And I hate doing this, but... there's a little time warp. Yep, I do use that time warp just to cheat my way every once in a while with spinning things. Mainly when I don't feel like redoing things. Like here. Because the last save was... It was a good while back, and that was about maybe 15 minutes of gameplay that I'd spent in between, so I just did not want to bother again. Anyhow, we have detached the tug again, mainly because this is actually balanced. There are no RCS ports on the other stage, so it was just getting annoying having to dock with that not being balanced. So I decided to take this little guy off and spin her around. Just come around to the other side and we'll dock it over to the front of it. So let us do such a thing. Of course, we'll be able to get the dock on the first go. Nope. Of course not. I mean, come on. First time docking? No way. It's always either the second try or the third try or the 20th try. You know? Yeah. You know how it works. Alright, come on, get her in there. Just a little bit more, and we should be good. And this little tug design, it's not terrible actually. I mean, it does have that fuel tank in it, and it has no actual engines that use that fuel. I don't know if I'm gonna add engines. I thought about putting some of the small radial ones on there, but they're probably not necessary, because I doubt a tug is gonna be moving very far. Then again, I might end up putting them on there anyways, just for the hell of it. But otherwise, RCS-wise and balance-wise and all those other wises, it's fine. It works well. Anyhow, it is around this point when I realize, yep, that's right. I have no batteries on any of those things, no solar panels. So even though I just refilled that, I have no way to actually move it. Yeah, way to go, dummy. So, what can I do? Well, I can basically abandon the mission as it is right now and send out another tug to grab all the things, and just nope, forget it. So what I'm going to end up doing instead is I'm going to use this tug. Initially I was going to use this to go back to Kerbin Space Dock and grab the fuel tanker, but now that I thought about just using the Kerbozord head instead, that'll do. So anyhow is what I just said. Anyhow is what I meant to say. I'll be using this to just dock back up again with that bottom stage. Not that it really matters. The reason why I docked with that one is because it has slightly less fuel than the other one. It doesn't matter. You don't need that much fuel to deorbit. In fact, what we have in here is plenty. So we're going to do that, attach to that little guy, and then go over and pick up the other piece of debris. So that'll be 2 of the pieces of debris taken care of. And we left one behind. Great. But that's fine. It's not a big deal to just go grab it and get rid of it. In fact, we could probably even just use the Kerbozord head for that. Oh, you can probably hear my chair squeaking there. Yeah, we can probably just use the Kerbozord head for that and come out here, set it into a deorbit trajectory, and then just detach and get back to Kerbin Space Dock. Because the Kerbin head itself, the Kerbozord head itself, does have, it has rockets. It has the small radially mounted rockets. So basically what I would have had to end up doing anyways. That sentence just did not want to come out of me. Anyhow, look, more struggling with docking. What a surprise. Oh my god, this was just such fun. Fun in quotes. Yeah, my controls were just swapped here. I'm not really sure why. Oh wait, actually I am sure why. Yeah, okay, I see it now. It's because when I docked to the bottom stage, or the stage with the rocket on it, I docked face first, if that makes sense. So the probe is actually facing towards the inside of the rocket. So yeah, it just makes things a little bit weird. But I ended up doing control from here on the docking port, and used the chase cam as well. So that basically lines everything up perfectly, or rather lines up your controls the way they should be. Now up is up, down is down, and all that fun stuff. And now the problem with this is that it is still very unbalanced because I only have those docking ports in the center there. Yeah, that's, whatever. It's fine, you just gotta deal with it. The easiest way I've found to deal with something like this is when you're doing your adjustments with RCS, do whatever you want to do, and then you'll notice that the marker will always be moving off the target because things are not balanced the way they should be. So you end up spinning when you want to just translate. So basically the easiest way to deal with that is do your adjustments and then just pop RCS off and just use normal controls or use the reaction wheels. Anyhow, we are attached. Hurrah! So now all we gotta do is just burn. Do a little deorbit burn. We'll use all of our fuel. That was, 20 units of fuel, and as you can see, we're well below the atmosphere. We'll be fine. And to close out the video, I just wanted to show you the crash. It's been a while since we've watched one of these things plummet to the ground, or in this case, plummet to the ocean. Figured I'd take a second to just talk about this mission a little bit. It was, oh my god, it's so dumb. You just, with the new version of the game, you need to make sure that whenever you have any part that has a probe, you also have batteries or some sort of power source on there. It's completely necessary because, yes, you can use it with what little power it has in the probe itself, but it's not enough. Chances are it won't be enough. For example, earlier, if I'd gotten closer to Kerbin Space Dock with the fuel tanker, or with the whole stage that launched up there, I probably would have been okay. I probably would have had enough charge in the tanker itself to dock with Kerbin Space Dock. because I think I was maybe 200 meters out when I basically had to set up a parking orbit because I ran out of charge after I went back in time. So yeah, it's just get power on there. Power is very, very necessary. You don't even need much, just one of these big batteries, the big battery tanks, or not tanks, what are they called? Banks, not tanks. I guess it's not a battery bank either, because there's only one of them. But yeah, you only really need a couple of batteries. Maybe an RTG is more than enough. I think an RTG provides like 45 charge per minute, whereas a probe drains like 1 or 2 charges per minute, so it should be more than enough. Might be wrong about that, but either way, you get the idea. Just get power on your things. Power is good. You didn't have to worry about that before, but you definitely do now. Anyhow, I just want to take a quick look here to see... Yep, we have definitely cleared up the orbit a little bit. I am slightly confused that I don't see the other piece of thing that's up there. The launch... Or not the launch... I keep calling it the launch stage. The orbital stage. So what I did, I just went into Kerbin Space Dock because I wanted to look around. I knew it was in visual... Well, not visual distance, but you could see the marker, and you can see it off to the side there. However many kilometers away it is, I can't quite read it. But yeah, it's still there. I guess it just doesn't count as a probe. I don't know why. It has a probe on it. Maybe because the probe is dead. Either way, thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time.